And hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Druids Dozen. Yeah, my name's John. I'm a radio DJ. I present on BCFM radio in Bristol, where I do the Sunday rock show. I also do the rock druid show on astroradio.earth, and I've been DJing for years. Also playing the band, but that's a bit to the side. Yeah, basically this little vlog thing, I just very punk lo-fi approach. I just grab dozen albums at random for my collection, and I just make a little film of them for you. So, what have I got dragged out of the racks this week? Well, I shall reach over, grab one, and I've already got them down here. The racks are over there, and out there, and all over the house. But anyway, I grabbed your list to kick off. There we are. There's the front. There's the back with a quote from Tony McPhee of the Groundhogs. And if you open up the gatefold, we get that. Yes. Mudanzas by Stray. Now, Stray, for those of you who don't know, great British rock band. Formed in the late 60s. First album, eponymous debut, came out in 1970. And yeah, they're still going to this day. Went to see them live just before the lockdown came in. However, through kind of luck and kind of an oil crisis and various reasons, Stray never really got the breaks they deserved. And fantastic band, but kind of always remained on the underground. So, you know, kind of, they never became rich and famous rock stars, but they maintained their rock and roll credibility. Anyway, Mudanzas here is the album that nearly broke them, apparently. This is came out in 1973, and it dented the bottom end of the British album charts. They did a massive successful tour with the Groundhogs, hence you got Tony McPhee on the back here going. I got to see Stray often when they were special guests on the Groundhogs British tour during November and December last year. I heard enough of them to know that they're not just another heavy rock band, but four very talented musicians who know where their music is going. The first sets can be heard on this album. Still Stray music, but with changes. Yeah. It is kind of probably one of their more commercial albums, as much as Stray ever got commercial sounding. You got one of my favourite Stray tracks on here, All Fumes and Sea Air, and along with I Believe It, Pretty Thing, Come On Over, The Gambler. Yeah, every track on here is really good. Unfortunately, from what I've heard, well, I actually heard it from the man himself, Del Bonham, the guitarist, told me this a while back. I've seen him quite a few times, you know. But it was down to kind of basically the 1973 oil crisis. All of a sudden, kind of this album was kind of bubbling under, and kind of pre-sales were going well, and then the oil crisis came. Not enough oil to make vinyl records, and lo and behold, not enough were pressed. The Groundhogs had the same problem with, I believe it was Split, around about the same time. But anyway, consequently, the orders were not met. It kind of hit the charts, vanished soon afterwards, and Stray never became the international rock stars they deserved to be. Shame. But anyway, Stray are still going, so get them out, check out some of their albums. I've got about 4 or 5 of them. They've done about a dozen or plus over the years. I've got about 3 or 4 of them, and every one is pretty damn good, so check out Stray. Okay, next up we'll reach for a CD, and we got a new release. Yeah, more new releases on this week's show. Well, one actually, this one. It's Heavy Pettin, and it's the 4-play EP. Brand new, only came out a week or 2 back. So there's the front, there's the back, and there's the gatefold with a disc. And I don't think I've ever had the booklet out of this one, you know. So I don't know what's in the booklet. Oh, it's not a booklet, it's just a piece of paper, just a plain 2-sided piece of paper. Yeah, now what can I say about Heavy Pettin? Well, they're a band that I've been into for years. They're out of Glasgow, I think. I may be wrong. Archetypal new wave of British heavy metal band. As much as you can have an archetypal new wave of British heavy metal band. They're kind of, I don't know. Those of you that know your new wave of British heavy metal, if you think kind of like the sort of sounds that Def Leppard were getting around about Pyromania period, then that's roughly where these guys are coming from. Although I hasten to add, they don't sound that much like Def Leppard, just that's that kind of wicket they're coming from, you know, the harmony vocal and kind of quite, almost like a glam rock approach. But anyway, this lot, their first album, the title of which has just gone completely out of my head, and I remembered it just a minute ago, but it's gone. Their first album, Brian May produced, followed it up with an album called Rock's Not Dead, which is an absolutely stunning album. Then they entered the Eurovision Song Contest, and I've got a bit of a soft spot for Eurovision, but at the time it killed their career. Their third album, The Big Bang, kind of fizzled out. I think it only got released after the band broke up. But anyway, they're on their way back. They reformed a year or two back, been gigging quite regularly, and this, as far as I'm aware, is their first reformation release. It's just a 4-tracker. Better get my glasses on for this. Yeah, it's just a 4-tracker, and the lineup's a bit different. I think Gordon Boner is the one of the originals. It's not the same vocalist. It's not the same drummer. It was what's his name? Gary Mowat. The drummer's got his own band, Burnt Out Wreck, that are well worth checking out. But anyway, 4 tracks. Get back to you. Tell me why. Who are we? Hard to hold. Overall, it's pretty good. Nothing sort of like ultra grabby. It's not maybe it's got the punch that, say, like the Rock's Not Dead album. I'll think about that one again. The Rock's Not Dead album is, but it's still well worth a look. Yeah, that's number 2. Heavy Pettin's brand new EP, Foreplay. Maybe I haven't lived with this one. I only got this one last week, and I haven't lived with it long enough to actually kind of give it an overall fair review. Maybe in a year or two's back, if these vlogs are still going, I'll come back and give it another look and give it another impression then. But overall, worth checking out. Okay, we'll go vinyl next, and we'll have this one, I believe. Yes. And if Mr. Richard Bosworth is watching, you may remember this one, because it was listening to this album around at your place inspired me to dive out and get my own copy. Yeah, Batfish Boys, Head. Those of you who don't know, Batfish Boys, I think they were a London band. I may be wrong. They are kind of very grungy, kind of sludge rock. And I don't mean grunge as in, you know, what's it like, Nirvana style stuff. It's just a kind of dirty psychedelia. But they've also got a... Hang on a minute. Bless me. Yeah, some of these haven't been out the rack for a bit, so I'll still have a bit of dust dragging them out, because a lot of these albums I've been digitising and... yeah. Anyway, this lot from so right out of London. Don't know much about them. I saw them live supporting Hawkwind years and years ago, and at the Bristol Blues and Biker Festival, which was a one-off event that took place in Keynsham back in about 1988, 89. Anyway, they had a string of albums out. This, I believe, is their first, maybe their second. I don't know. But anyway, one of their early albums, and it's kind of greasy, grungy rock and roll, bit psychedelic, bit of a country influence in here in places as well. But it's just a kind of general messed up sound. It works quite well. Tracks to look out for: The Whiskey Priest, my favourite one, The Gods Hate Kansas, and what else is there? Love Pig, Gaia Girl, I Don't Want to Be Your Dinosaur Baby. Absolutely stunning track. Yeah, I don't know what happened to this lot. I know they contracted their name just to Batfish, and a few whiles later, because this album was 86. Yeah, and I know they were going into about 89, 90, but after that, I don't know. So, album number 3, Batfish Boys and Head. Yeah, again, might have to check it out or hunt it down, but worth a look. Okay, we'll have another CD and we'll have another Scottish band. Yeah, Vantage Point, High Maintenance Girlfriend, sort of mini album, EP, 6 track or whatever it is. There's the front. There's the back. If I open it up, there's the inside. Can't get it out. Here's a booklet. Photographs of the guys doing very rock and roll things. No lyrics though, just basically the photo gallery of the band. And also in here I have, if I slide that back in lustily, it's fiddly, yeah. In here is this, which is the press. Being a DJ, when I get sent the promos and that, I get things like this come through with them, which is basically the press release with yeah, it tells you a bit about the album, when it came out, etc. Some quotes. Yeah, there's one for me on here. Obedient School, the current single is a classic slice of down and dirty sleaze metal that wouldn't sound out of place on Girl She Agreed album. And then there's my favourite cut on offer, Global Decay, with its post-Kashmir verse riff, nighttime flyer style chorus, and mind-blowing shred and whittle solo. Very good stuff indeed. I can't remember saying that. But anyway, but then again, I've been broadcasting for many years and I can't remember everything I've ever broadcast. So anyway, yeah, Vantage Point, out of Edinburgh. Been around for a while, recorded quite a few albums. This one came out in 2012, and there's more recent stuff than this that I've got in the rack, so definitely still going. Yeah, batting off the same wicket maybe as Heavy Pettin. In fact, there are times when I listen to this and I think that, you know, these guys are Heavy Pettin's natural successors when it comes to kind of quite commercially accessible, but not in a bad way, Scottish heavy metal. They got their own kind of distinct kind of album artwork. They're 4 very talented geezers who know how to crank out a tune. On this one, you got the title track, High Maintenance Girlfriend. Global Delay is, I think it's a live version or a re-recorded version of one of their previous tracks. It's just pretty, it's pretty awesome. Pleasure Slave's another sort of like built-in number as well on here. Yeah, not much else to say about that lot, just that I wish they would kind of tour Britain more. I know touring's expensive and we can't because of lockdown at the moment, but it would be nice to actually go and see this lot live, because I've been living with their music for, oh god, 10, 12 years, but never got to see them live, so as far as I'm aware, they haven't ventured that much into England, and definitely not to the West Country. So yeah, anyway, Vantage Point, High Maintenance Girlfriend. If you can get a copy, which I think you should be able to get it online as a download at least if the CDs are sold out, go get. Next up, a bit more vinyl. Okay, there's the front, there's the back. Yeah, STARZ, attention shoppers, 19, you said trying to remember when it is, I'll have a look in a minute. And there's the kind of gatefold, there's the back of the gate, the inner sleeve, there's the other side of the inner sleeve here. Yeah, when was this? 78, I knew it was somewhere around there. 1978, yeah, STARZ, attention shoppers. Now, if you don't know, and if you're in the States, you might be going, oh, I vaguely remember the STARZ. If your chances are, if you're in Europe, you're going, who the hell are they? Well, basically, this lot, they were New Jersey, New York, somewhere like that, off the East Coast. American rock band. Best way of describing them. They kind of formed 74, 75. First signed to Columbia Records. First album came out around about 76. This is their third album from 1978. There's one more studio album after this called Coliseum Rock, and then they kind of fell apart. Some of them turned up in the band called the Hellcats. They periodically reform for like one-off gigs and tours and that, but I don't think there's been any studio material since this lot came out. Anyway, this was one I grabbed completely on the that looks interesting kind of idea. I mean, I think it's Plastic Wax Records, second-hand record dealer in Bristol. This is going back a good few years ago. Saw this in the racks and I thought, that looks okay, I'll grab it. Glad I did. Cracking album. Now, I was talking about commercial albums. This is definitely STARZ' most commercial and accessible release. Not that there's anything inaccessible about their other albums, but this one, I don't know, it's got a kind of nice kind of pop rock vibe to it, almost Cheap Trick in places. But it holds up well. And I was only playing this, I've digitised this album a few years ago, and I was only playing it on for my own personal listening pleasure on my headphones a couple of weeks back, and this album still kind of gets me going. Yeah, it's the only way to do about it. There isn't really a duff track on here. You've got Hold On to the Night, She, Third Time's the Charm, which is a cracking little ballad. I'll Be There, Waiting on You, X-Ray Specs, which is a Good I Always Seek, great drinking song, Don't Think. And then you got the highlight, not only of this album, but the band's career, Johnny All Alone. Absolutely mind-blowing track. It's about 7.5 minutes long. You got Brendan Harkin and Richie Verano. There's a dual guitar section on there that it outlives Lizzie, put it that way. And spine singling vocals from, what was the guy's name? I keep forgetting. Yeah, Michael Lee Smith, the vocalist. Spine singling vocal performance. Little song about prostitutes and kind of inner city degradation. But it's a cracking track from a rather good album. Don't know whether it's available or not yet, or deleted or whatever, but if you can find it, add it to your collection, you'll like. Okay, next up we'll have another CD, and this is a little 4-track EP. There's the front, there's the back. Yeah, and it's been signed, you can see, including Cheers for the Vickies. And open it up, it kind of got kind of things like that, you know, something like that. Yeah, now this lot, Tiger Please, the Seasons EP. Right. Now this lot, I used to be quite into a band called The Crave. Don't know what ever happened to them. This is going back about 10 years or so now. Yeah, 2010, 2012. So this is 10 years ago. Went down to see The Crave, who were playing at the Crofters Rights here in Bristol. And was it the Crofters Rights? Yeah, I think it was the Crofters Rights. And lo and behold, this lot was a support band. Didn't know anything about them. They went on stage, and one of those occasions where I see a support band, I go in, who the hell are these when they start? I come off, I'm a massive fan. Went out, brought their album and this EP, which is on their touring at the moment. They're kind of Welsh, kind of alternative indie type stuff. Quite heavy in places, but I don't know, my knowledge of indie rock is a bit kind of patchy. Don't dislike some of it, but so it's hard to kind of describe it, you know, without kind of leading you up false garden paths. But anyway, indie rock. Yeah, maybe a little bit Funeral for a Friend, maybe, in their softer moments. Because it's quite a soft album, this one. They don't actually kind of let their balls out that much. But anyway, this band's biggest selling point for me was their songwriting. These guys, they knew how to turn a lyric. They knew how to turn that lyric into a cracking tune. one of my all-time favourite tracks is on this one, Winter and the Storyteller. Spine-singling performance with some equally spine-singling lyrics for it. Now, shortly after this album got released, the band broke up. Or rather, they didn't break up, they had a massive change in direction. They now call themselves The People and the Poet. And they're still very, very good, and I've still seen them live recently, and well, about 2 years ago. And they're still knocking out some great albums. And their kind of new concept is they kind of they go around asking people for their stories, and you tell them a story and they'll turn it into a song. So it's kind of, they become the poet for the people. Yeah, quite an interesting concept for a career. Anyway, now I don't know whether the Tiger Please material is still available, but if you do, their album's quite it's worthwhile as well. But yeah, this one, the Seasons EP, is where to go. Absolutely brilliant. Next up, he says, reaching for the vinyl. Now look at this with reverence. We are in the concept. We are in the realms of rock history here. Robert Calvert's Captain Lockheed and the Starfighters. There's the front. The back is just a continuation round. Actually, it's not. No, is it? It's the same room with the China duck. Starfighters smashed all over the floor. Open it up. It turns into a kind of big booklet. Staples have come undone on this one, but yeah, all the lyrics, all the credits, picture of Rob himself hiding in the shadows there. Now, Robert Calvert, best known for his work with Hawkwind. Yeah, he was their vocalist for not that long actually, at 72 to about 74, then again for a couple of years in the late 80s. Late 70s, sorry. But 73, he kind of stepped aside from Hawkwind, wanted to release some solo stuff. Or did he have a bust up with Brock? We don't know. But anyway, the result was this one. Now, this is a concept work about the F-104G Starfighter. G for Germany. And basically, in real life, the Germans were looking for a multi-purpose strike aircraft for the Luftwaffe in the late 1960s. The Americans had some surplus F-104 Hartlewood interceptors knocking around. Decided they were going to call them the G model, fit them with bomb racks and ship them out to the Germans. The result was a plane that was untested, effectively untested, very unstable, and became known as the Widowmaker because they're thinking about the 200 the Germans brought, over 100 of them ended up crashing, killing the pilots. So yeah, so anyway, Calvert has always was it. I mean, all Calvert's solo stuff is a concept works to a great or lesser extent. His solo work at least. Anyway, so he cooked up this one. He working with, let's have a look. Paul Rudolph, who was Pink Fairies, like went on to play with Hawkwind. Lemmy from, at the time, Hawkwind on bass. Simon King, Hawkwind drummer. There was the Del Detmar, also Hawkwind on sax synthesizer. Yet another Hawk on sax, which is Nick Turner. Dave Brock, of course the Hawkwind main man, doing additional lead guitar. Twink from the Pink Fairies on drums. Guest appearances from Arthur Brown and Adrian Wagner, along with loads of other people. Vivian Stanshall, Jim Capaldi as an actor. Yeah, it's just overall, it's just a interesting work. It does sound very Hawkwind in places. It's probably the only one of Calvert's solo albums that does sound very Hawkwind. But overall, yeah, very accessible, very good, very fun, and yeah, a bit of a seminal classic. I mean, at one point, which had an influence this album is, at one point, half the bands on the Bristol kind of acid punk scene were covering tracks off this album live. And there was even kind of mad talk about the bands getting together to do a live stage performance of it, but never happened. Anyway, if you're into kind of psychedelic rock and your acid rock, and this isn't in your collection, you are missing out. Go get. God, we're overrunning on time on this one, but I'll press on a bit quick. CDs and a Bristol act, the lovely, talented, glorious RITA LYNCH. Now, there's the front, and the album is Good Advice. There's the front, there's the back, and oh no, there's no booklet on this one. Can't even remember when this album came out. There's no date stamp on it. I think it was about 2012. I may be wrong, but here, autographed set list. Now Rita, she's a bit of a punk legend around Bristol, and you know, a bit of a cult, this kind of personality on the Bristol punk scene, or the British punk scene in general. Started out with a band called The Shits back in the 80s, went solo, did a bit of time as a rhythm guitarist with the Blue Aeroplanes as well, but best known these days for her work, her solo work. Had a string of albums out, and she started out being a bit kind of alternative singer-songwriter, you know, a bit PJ Harvey, etc. Although she's kind of refined her style down to, she just performs as a two-piece these days. Just her on guitar and vocals and a drummer. Sometimes she'll drag a fiddle player up or a sax player to just add a bit live, but overall just really kind of simplistic, slimmed down stuff. A lot of her songs aren't complicated. A lot of them are a simple riff that just builds and builds and builds, and yeah, overall, if you like this kind of stuff, which I imagine some people may not, but you know, very just sort of like infectious and trancey to watch her live. She's a lovely person as well. I've got to know her personally over the years. Got as far as I'll call her a mate, and we do have a quick drink when we go out. Rita doesn't drink, but you know, I'll have a cider, she'll have an orange. But anyway, yeah, this album. So I've got quite a few. I've got most of her albums, if not all, but this one came out, I believe, 2010, 2011, 2012, around about that period anyway. One of my favourites, primarily because of the tracks on here, Somebody Else's Secret and Junkie. But songs like He Talks Me Down, I'm Frightened, Bide Your Time, Valium, all really good stuff. Like I said, imagine sort of like PJ Harvey, stripped down, almost kind of very basic, very rhythmic, very tribal in places. That's where she's coming from. Yeah, Rita LYNCH. Good advice. Good advice. Track down this album, go get. Next up, we'll have a bit of this on vinyl, and we're staying in Bristol. Yeah, Orion, Jack Orion. And a quick change of musical gear here as well. There's the front. There is the back, and no, there's no inlay card or in a sleeve. Now, Orion, two-piece Bristol folk duo, Dee Jarlett and Martin Hanstead. They're a couple, been together for a good few years. Dee plays vocals, guitar and keyboards. Martin does fiddle, acoustic guitar, mandolin, synthesizers, bass and drum synths, and bangs a walk. Now this lot, there we are, getting it signed. They were, yeah, they're not. I don't think they're gigging together anymore. Orion, although last time I saw them in the mid-90s, they were having their kids were joining in, to making it into a family band, but I've not heard of Orion being active for a while. They're kind of, like I said, they're very folk, and I don't mind a bit of folk, you know, from time to time. It's nice and chilled out. These are a pretty good festival bands like the old Ashton Court and Bristol Community Festivals. Good kind of just sit in a tent or sit in the field and just listen to the sound roll over you. This album is the only one they released as far as I'm aware. There's it's in two halves. The first side one is a kind of traditional folk song. You got Jack Orion, Past Caring, The Fisherman's Wife, Up on Salisbury Plain, and other tracks, traditional English folk tunes. The other half is a 5-piece kind of I'll put it concept side, talking about a tarot reading. You've got tracks called Molly, The Lovers, Led by the Fall, The Tower, The Moonshine, and Death and the Lady. And it's just really good. It's accessible. It's kind of folk, but not sort of like twee woody jumper finger in the ear folk. It's kind of quite ragged and wild. I mean, Martin as fiddle playing is kind of very influenced by lots of European gypsy music and like Jewish folk music, so you've got that element. DJ Aldet, cracking voice. D kind of is also a vocal coach, still going, that kind of teaches and organises a thing called the Gasworks Choir, which is kind of one of these kind of pick up scratch choirs that anyone can go along and join. They do a lot of festival stuff and that. But anyway, Orion, Jack Orion. Again, a lot of this stuff you may take a bit of tracking down, because as far as I'm aware, this was only ever sold around Bristol and at gigs. But if you can find a copy, worth checking them out, because if you like your folk, it's a very folky album to folk off to. Okay, next up we'll have a bit of this. This is another EP, the Angry Badgerz and the Darios Vision EP, 4-track job. Now, the Angry Badgerz out of Weston-super-Mare on the, I guess outside Bristol, so it's Bristol scene kind of thing. And they're a 4-piece sort of like psychedelic prog band, best way of putting them. Yeah, it kind of, I don't know, when we hear them I keep getting slices of It Bites, but I don't know, It Bites gone slightly wrong, but in a good way, kind of not quite so calling all the heroes, more of a, you know, call to the barricades type stuff maybe. Yeah, this is their debut EP, and it's a concept piece, and not a concept piece, but it's kind of based around the films of Dario Argento, the Italian horror director. Tracks Crazy, Deep Red, Kill It, and Fear of Flies, all in various ways refer to Dario Argento's movies. And yeah, it's really impressive. That's all I can really say about it. There is an album they brought out about a year or two back. Again, the title of that album, which was in my head 30 seconds ago, has slipped out. But yeah, we're checking the album out. And this lot's still going. They've recently kind of, Jules, who was the vocalist guitarist, had kind of some kind of throat problem. So he's kind of given, still the guitarist, but they brought in a separate vocalist now. And yeah, Alien Stashed in my band, I gigged them quite a few times, and they're kind of, now hopefully once they got their lineup sorted, they'll be back onto the live, once lockdown's over, they'll be back on the live circuit. So yeah, I'm going to go and see these guys again, and I recommend it. If they come to your town, you do so too. The Angry Badgerz, the Dario Visions EP. Available via the band online, or if you go see them live, available at their gigs. Okay, now which of these two do I go for next? The vinyl. We're going to finish on a CD this week. We're going to have vinyl next. And we got this one. Widowmaker by Widowmaker. There's the front. There's the back. And no, there's nothing in the inner sleeve. Now, Widowmaker, British supergroup. Let's have a look. You've got where are we? On here you've got Hugh Lloyd Langton, former Hawkwind guitarist. He later went on to rejoin Hawkwind, sadly demised now, but also played with what's his name? Oh, some glam rocker. I can't remember the bloke's name from the early 70s. But anyway, been a session guitarist for a while. This was his dabbling back into bands. Ariel Bender, former Mott the Hoople guitarist. You've got Bob Daisley out of Chicken Shack. Later would go on to do great things with Rainbow and at various other projects, Gary Moore Band, etc. And the other two, Steve Ellis and Paul Nichols. Now, I can't remember which was with which. I think there's an Arm Corner connection with this lot, and I can't remember who the other guy was with, but again, it was someone equally kind of impressive off the scene at the time. Now, this lot came together. They did 2 albums, which were, you know, this one and Too Late to Cry came out in 1978. This one was 1976. Oh, 75, I apologise. 1975. And it's a, I nearly swore then. It was a damn fine album. Well, I can fucking swear if I want to, but I just don't choose not to. Cause it, you know? Yeah, anyway, damn fine album. Not a weak track on here. It's kind of, it's a bit mainstream in the rock side. It's not particularly heavy, but on the other hand, it's just very, very accessible. You've got some of my favourite songs are on this. Pin a Rose on Me, Straight Face Fighter, Leave the Kids Alone, Running Free, I've Got a Dream. And even some of the heavier stuff like Such a Shame, Out on the Road, I Ain't Telling You Nothing. Very, very good. The performances on here are great. I mean, the chances of hearing Ariel Bender and Hugh Lloyd-Langton swapping guitarists with each other is one not to be missed. And yeah, they were described on here as a musical, as a great hope of the musical hot pot of the late 1970s. Yeah, sadly they never really did set the world on fire. 2 albums that are kind of collector's items. You might be able to find them on modern formats if you go looking, but if not, it might be a case of tracking down one of the old original vinyls like this one. But anyway, and then they kind of went their separate ways. They said Hugh Lloyd-Langton rejoined Hawkwind, Bob Daisy went off to Rainbow. Can't remember what happened to the rest of them, but anyway, the band fell apart. Shame, but like I said, they left a couple of cracking albums behind, of which this is the first. Yeah, add it to your collection, you'll not regret. And finally, this isn't just an album, this is a piece of something that is very special to me. There we go, Crash Street Kids, Chemical Dogs. Now, what can I tell you about this lot? Crash Street Kids, out of Phoenix in Arizona. And again, like I mentioned on previous episodes, when I first started on BCFM, I went through MySpace and I emailed a load of bands saying, I like what I hear, because you couldn't always get downloads off MySpace. Can you send me some material? And one of the bands was the Crash Street Kids, and it was the start of a love affair. Yes, I love these guys. And yeah, 4-piece kind of glam rock revivalism. And I don't mean glam as in US hair metal glam. I mean these guys heavily into bands like The Sweet, Slade, Susie Quattro, ELO, all that kind of classic British kind of pop rock from the 1970s. And this is their second album. I have got the all 4 of their studio albums and their double live set. And then this one came, it won our first ever Album of the Year award back in 2007. And it's just a cracking album. From the opening cut, Chemical Dogs, right through to Illusion, the final song. There's not a weak point on it. The performances are amazing. The songwriting is first rate. Their production, I can't remember who produced this. No, it was self-produced. So I'll show you the inlay card as well. Yeah, there's like, yeah, as I said, typically inlay booklet lyrics, a large picture of the band live, and yeah, some lyrics and some info and some thanks credits and all that sort of the other. Yeah, this album is still in my, would be still, if I go on Digital Island discs, this album will be coming with me to that island. Yeah, it's heavy, it's rock and roll, it's fun, it doesn't take itself too seriously, but on the other hand, it's a concept work. The first 3 albums form a concept of about this kid travelling in time to kind of live his kind of life as a rock star, and then things go wrong. Yeah. After the first 3 albums, they released a live album and then another one called Sweet Creatures, which was kicking off a new concept work. However, various internal pressures on various members of the band, domestic pressures and that, led to them going on hiatus back in 2013, I think they were last active. Various members of the band have been playing session, other ones have been doing family stuff and that kind of thing. Although a couple of years ago, as often happens when the various members of the session workers, they're all quite impressive session players as well, come over to Britain on doing sessions and tours. I tend to try and meet up with them for a couple of beers. And last time I met up with AD the drummer and Ryan the guitarist, and we got a very drunken night in Bristol. And they were telling me there are unreleased Crash Street Kids stuff, there's some outtakes and a kind of sketch idea for a 5th album. And should they ever get chance and time, they will get back together and redo it, but it will have to be the original lineup because I don't think that anyone else could do it. And maybe I agree. But anyway, this should be in everybody's record collection. Actually, I'd say their entire catalogue should be in everyone's record collection, but there again, I'm biased. But like I said, this is probably the best place to start if you want to get into Crash Street Kids. Chemical Dogs came out in 2007. Brilliant album. So that's it for this week. I'm trying to keep these down to under 45 minutes. So yeah, this one's going to be winding up now. Sorry if it's a bit waffly, but yeah. Hope you enjoyed that. Again, apologies for there's no clips because of YouTube and Facebook algorithms. Can't do it that way. And yeah, I'll be back next week with 12 more. And yeah, and don't forget, check out the radio shows. I'll put links in the description below on YouTube. And yeah, you know, when this comes out next week on Facebook, I'll kind of do a similar kind of thing there. So yeah, take care, be good to yourselves. I love you all, and keep rocking and rolling. And yeah, and I got to do these things. It's tradition. If you like what you've read, leave a comment, leave a like, and let's get a discussion going. Let's talk about some of these albums. Have you seen these bands? Do you like these albums? Do you agree or disagree with me? Well, I want to know. So until next week, Pete, take care, and I'm out of here. Bye.